get moving to the next location?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. No. If I just do my show here, no one else. Well, I'm sure when the saying came from. Where
definitely a Google worthy.
You would have like a show, and then you would do it here, and like just these people could appreciate it. But if you took it on the road,
do you do that?
You had a bigger audience.
Google sayings where they come from,
No.
or what they meant.
No,
I like to do that. Like get in my whip. You know where that comes from? The old cowboy days with the horse and carriage, and they have the whip. It's their just get on the whip.
So today.
Oh, I asked the questions around.
No, I'm giving you information. Today
is there a team meeting right now?
Is the day that I need to pick up my my free flowers. Remember I had a 6-month subscription and I got flowers every month from our friend Michael at W Flowers. Then I would get my 7th month free. That's today.
W Flowers. That's good, taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, getting out of the house, spiritually, the flowers, connecting. I was doing some healthy things too.
Are you going out today? Leaving the house? You're leaving the house today?
Got a calendar.
No, but I have like stuff, so I don't even know if I have time.
Does everybody share a calendar with their wife? Like, does everybody have Google calendars? We do. And then Josh, who's Josh?
Your employee.
I wouldn't just say employee. I was say special ops Josh. We share a calendar.
As you should. That's your business calendar.
Yeah. The home and the business calendar all meld together sometimes. But what I was going to say is that I get a lot of comments on Vicky Ruby's hair. Is there something that you do? Like, what would you pass on to somebody's hair that is aging gracefully, beautifully, like old wine? Not old wine, but good wine.
I can now.
How do I drink wine?
I can receive compliments now, and truth be told, I've always gotten compliments about my hair, like my whole life.
We're hitting a subject right now.
So it's I'm grateful for my hair. I cut it once in my adult life, short, and that won't happen again. But I can't grow it super.
You and your friend.
However,
you dual short hair.
No. So I did grow out my color when you quit your job, your most recent job quitting episode. Hey, I quit my job. I heard that before, but this time you were sober.
This is way back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. I quit when you quit Jericho.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like 6 years ago?
I don't know.
I don't know. You left. You left to pursue entrepreneurial ventures.
Church
and to start a church. So then we did a new budget. Remember we did a new budget, and getting my hair colored was not in the budget. And I cannot color my hair out of a box. I learned that many years ago.
You have forced me to actually do it for you, and it always goes bad.
It goes bad every single time. Orange. Like, my hair does not take color out of a box. It goes really, really orangey. It goes weird colors. So I had been getting my hair professionally colored, but she did it in such a way that I only had to go twice a year, but still was very expensive. And we did a new budget. And so I told her I want to grow it out and let's just see what happens. She was super excited. So I've been growing out my color. It's gone. You
haven't had color in
years.
It's
gone. 6-7 years, something like that.
So
this is my natural color. The tip is,
go into the camera.
Just to the tip. So she colored my hair close to my natural color, like my natural color, with some low lights. And
this is 6 years ago.
Yeah. And then I just grew it out. And lo and behold, I have this gray.
There's a lot of gray.
Well, now I know that there's tons of gray, but when I first started, it was like a gray strip at the front. And my stylist would always say, like, "Oh, Vicky, people pay lots of money for that." However, the best tip, I could have just said this: purple shampoo, blue shampoo, or purple shampoo.
Can I divulge information, or can I confess something?
Sure.
I've been using your purple shampoo on my beard.
Stop it. That shampoo is so expensive, and you do not need it on your beard.
No.
I'll ask Debbie.
All right, let's get the show.
Thank you for the compliment.
Let's go.
Thank you for the compliment.
Purple shampoo to actually it's not just purple
changes,
shampoo, like kid shampoo.
No, it's like actually thick purple shampoo, and then
it brings out your summer.
Makes the color like so much better. the silver. Like, so it really does something with silver. And when it wasn't really silver, when it was just like kind of like a low light blonde or whatever from the sun, it gets rid of the brassiness of the blonde. And so it removed some of that
no one wants brassy
orange
blonde.
tinting. Yeah.
Unless you do.
Yeah.
Very good.
No,
and we're doing healthy things.
Silver.
I rode a stationary bike today.
Congratulations.
Stationary biking is a lot more energetic than I thought. Or maybe I'm just in the space right now physically for a lot of things to be energetic.
Yesterday, I did a 1 hour hot walk.
We gotta get
like
physical
hot,
for this.
Sweaty.
My tip for the winter is do something physical, whether it's inside, outside. But it's going to be a hard winter.
For letting me buy winter boots. Not that you let me.
For Christmas.
Yeah, that's my Christmas.
For Christmas.
Whatever.
I'm pretty sure that you're not thinking that way.
I chuckle inside because...
No, you will not wear those boots before the 25th.
No, I need to wear the boots when I need them. Like, why would I waste... like, I have 3 more weeks of December.
You're horrible at Christmas presents.
You're horrible at Christmas presents. There's no way that you're going to not be able to buy me something.
I'm going to package them up.
You love to give gifts.
No, you're not. You will not wear those boots until the 25th.
It doesn't matter if I wear the boots or not. Because you have to give me a surprise.
I think you're manipulating Christmas.
You have to give me a surprise.
See how you train me to... Oh.
You love gifts.
Oh my goodness.
You love gifts. It's your love language.
I've been doing a little bit of biking in the basement.
I'm proud of you.
And I jogged once. Have you ever jogged?
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
What? No, it's not fair. You don't work the same as me, and I'm horrible at presents. Like, I love presents. I love giving them presents, but I'm too excited to, like, I'm not good at secrets.
You always give me a surprise.
Yeah, the day before at bedtime.
Which is the day that you bought it. And it's the day that you came up with the idea. And so it's still a surprise, because if you did it sooner, you would have given it to me then. And so you wait until the day of, not out of procrastination, but because you know that you can't keep a secret.
You're telling on manhood right now.
It's okay. I embraced it.
Let's get
the
show on the road. All right, developing.
Can we just talk about something for a second? I just want to talk about something
really
serious.
This is a morning devotional.
Yes, I
know.
We
talked about something serious.
I just want to be serious. My hair is very serious. Thank you for that compliment. It's so hard to accept compliments, but I'm embracing it.
But you're really grabbing onto it.
I'm so much more comfortable in low self-esteem. What I wanted to say was that codependency is a very hard concept for people to embrace, and that I think that there's people that stumble on this video and are like, what is going on here? And so basically, I just want to do the little blurb of, because maybe there's like a couple of new people.
Blurb away.
And so
time's ticking.
Codependency being, we're created to live interdependent with other human beings. And when my well-being is so much more impacted by the well-being of other people, when my thoughts and my day-to-day activities and the decisions that I make are pretty much like revolving around other people to the detriment of my own well-being and my own peace and serenity. If I don't have peace and serenity, then I need to start to look at myself and my motives and my behaviors. That was the little blurb that came to me last night that I'm, for the first time, remembering to share. Usually I come up with these things in the night and then I don't share them. So we read this every day to stay grounded and focused and to really learn how to have healthier relationships with other people.
And usually I take this concept throughout the day and I think about it, meditate on it, pray about it. Ask God about it.
Me too.
That kind of stuff.
Yesterday's was hard and kind of heavy.
Yesterday's was.
It was. And I thought about it a lot.
Good.
Go.
All right.
Your turn.
The show is now on the road.
I just wanted to bring you in. If you're new.
Yeah, welcome.
We're thankful that you're here.
This is called developing healthy tolerance. Many of us are skilled at denying and discounting what hurts us. We may endure a particular situation telling ourselves repeatedly that it's not that bad. We shouldn't be so demanding. It'll change any day. We should be able to live with it. It doesn't annoy us. The other person didn't really mean it. It doesn't hurt. Maybe it's just us. We may fight and argue with ourselves about the reality and validity of our pain, our right to feel it and do something about it. Often we tolerate too much, or so much that we become furious and refuse to tolerate anymore. We can learn to develop healthy tolerance. We do that by setting healthy boundaries and trusting ourselves to own our power with people. We can lessen our pain and suffering by validating and paying attention to ourselves. We can work at shortening the time between identifying a need to set a boundary and taking clear, direct action. We aren't crazy. Some behaviors really do bug us. Some behaviors are really inappropriate, annoying, hurtful, or abusive. We don't have to feel guilty about taking care of ourselves once we identify a boundary that needs to be set. Look at the experience as an experiment in owning our power, in establishing new, healthy boundaries and limits for ourselves. We do not have to feel guilty or apologize or explain ourselves after we set a boundary. We can learn to accept the awkwardness and discomfort of setting boundaries with people. We can establish our rights to have these limits. We can give the other person room to have and explore his or her feelings. We can give ourselves room to have our feelings as we struggle to own our power and create good, working relationships. Once we trust our ability to take care of ourselves, we can develop healthy, reasonable tolerance of others as well. God, help me begin striving for healthy boundaries and healthy tolerance for myself and others. Amen.
So
my goodness.
much.
I love
so
the
much.
tolerance word.
What happens? We are in situations. So the beginning part of this was describing that I live in such a way that I just put up with. I don't deal with stuff. And then like things are happening to me from my perspective.
Can I interrupt
and they just like
second?
pile on top and top on top.
When you take somebody's behavior, when you take something, is that consuming? Like, I know it sounds in a backhanded way, but is that still somebody that's consuming somebody else?
I don't know.
Or situations?
No, because I think that like denying and discounting what hurts us and enduring a particular situation or circumstance and telling ourselves it's not that bad, and that it'll change any day, that we should be able to live with this. It doesn't really annoy us. So like someone has encroached on my boundaries. And yes, there's a part of it that there's a reason that I'm staying. There is a payoff for me. I'm not staying just because but that's like such a long concept to come to really understand. Okay. But when I so then people have been, from my perspective, as doing things to me, and I'm being so kind and gracious and patient and tolerant in putting up with what's being done to me. But I get to a place where like I am so full of all that I just start to like explode. And so, or just so my type of personality goes from tolerating all this unhealthy stuff to like completely intolerant and incapable of even having rational conversation now. So I literally go from what I think is this, loving, tolerant place to just like cray.
Yeah, leaking.
You can't even talk to me. Leaking,
Yeah.
exploding. And so the real big sign for me is that, so as I was walking into like a recovery life, into a recovered life, and seeking peace and serenity, and like out of less insane living, into a more, normal, productive, non-addicted life, what I started to realize is that there was certain circumstances that I would react to at a 10 plus when really it was only really like maybe a 2 situation, And so for me, that was like a big sign. Does this interaction warrant this big explosive response, or like would I feel silly afterwards and think like, oh man, why did I react like that? So that's like the warning sign on the dashboard of your car.
That's good.
right?
The extremes.
There's something wrong. Like
being almost passive and then blowing.
Yes.
And I think like
Yes.
it's true with anything. If I'm judging everything around me, I'm actually judging myself. If I'm demanding,
Right.
then I'm actually probably more demanding within me. If I have these expectations, I'm probably like setting the bar so high for me that I'm failing. And so what's happening on the inside, I think a lot of intolerant people, like if I'm not tolerant of others, I'm actually really intolerant of myself. I'm not happy with myself. I'm shooting myself down. I deserve this. And it's like, I'm not tolerant of myself. So I'm actually not tolerant of really anything around me.
It's so much easier
that's a burden
to put that on other people than to look at myself.
Oh, that's so good. Man, amen. Let's walk out of this room and wonder and pray and seek understanding if we have the burden of intolerance of ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
The last half of this was about boundaries, and I so want to talk about that, but I fully understand this video is plenty long enough.
Okay.
And I really feel like boundaries is such a good conversation.
Boundaries is a great conversation because I think sometimes in early recovery, we can try to set boundaries, but it's actually control.
Right. Oh my goodness. It's so hard to figure out the difference.
Woo! But that's why we need community. That's why we need sponsors. That's why we need mentors. That's why we need to be open to hearing what other people say and not being defensive and not being offended and not being all those things. Oh, man, you just crushed a conversation about boundaries. What would one thing you would say about boundaries be?
One thing that I've learned about boundaries recently is that boundaries are actually, for me, they're my boundaries. And I don't actually have to go tell somebody else what they are. Like, it's not like I have to decide a boundary with you and then go tell you what my boundary is. And now you need to abide by my boundary. That's not a boundary. Beautiful. A boundary it's my boundary. It's like me, it's in my head and I have to follow through with it. And it has nothing to do with like trying to change your behavior. That's control.
And it doesn't go without saying that there are boundaries that we should all adhere to, like not punching people and driving the speed limit and wearing our seatbelts.
There's unacceptable and acceptable behavior, but my boundary, like the boundary is like, I'm going to decide what I'm willing to, like, I'm not going to walk. My boundary is like, I can choose where to take myself. I can choose where to be. I can choose what's allowed on my property. If there's something on my yard that I don't want there, I have to remove it. I have a fence on my property and I can do in my property what I want. And if there's somebody that comes onto my property that I don't want here or who's unhealthy or causing harm, then I have to figure out how to get them off my property. That's a whole other, right? How do I get somebody off my property when they insist on being on my property?
Because they're breaking your boundaries.
I have to take the action to get them off my property.
Man, you're fired today.
So there's options. Those options come with like consequences. Like I can call the police. I can call bylaw. I can call an enforcer. I got a bouncer right here. So if I need you off my property, I have to deal with it. And so most of the time, I don't want to deal with the hard discussions and conversations that come with getting somebody off my property that I don't want here in my life that's causing harm to me. I can't make the other person stop causing harm. So I can have some initial conversations to sort of move in that direction of like, hey, I noticed, or what we learned in our program last week was I feel, frustrated when you talk to me like that. And I would prefer that we be able to have a conversation with respect and
assertive talking.
And so assertive, I can have those conversations, but if this person continues to like yell at me, call me names and swear, right? Like I can't make them stop. I can't. I can either.
I love your analogy about the house because some people don't have fences. And that, like, some people live like that. Some people, maybe you take the numbers off your house. Maybe you take your doorbell off.
Okay, remember we were walking on the path in the spring. This video is way too long. I'm sorry. But John and I were walking in the spring along the river pathway, and there was flooding. And so we couldn't walk through the path. We didn't have rubber boots. And so we have sneakers. And so John is like, oh, let's cut up here. Let's cut up this hill. And there's like no fence on someone's property. And John's like, oh, let's just cut through.
You're going in between two houses.
No. no, we can't cut through someone's yard. And John's like, there's no fence. Like, let's just cut through. Well, I think that guy spends his days looking for people that are cutting through his yard when there's flooding. He yelled. He came out and yelled at us. And John was like, yeah, man.
You ducked your head in.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, like we can't go on someone's property. To me, like property lines, I don't even need a fence. Lots of people need a fence, right? And so like if I don't put up a fence, but I'm going to freak out when someone comes on my property, those are my decisions. Like I can choose to not put up a fence and then risk that people will take those shortcuts. But in my life, in my everyday life, in relationships with people, like I just feel like having those initial conversations is the beginning before putting up a fence.
You just brought it all together with tolerance and boundaries.
Yeah.
With that guy. He didn't have boundaries. Like he didn't have.
Sure he does. He has a property and we can respect it, but like he's
waiting to watch. But he's intolerant of anybody.
Does it ruin his day? Right? So is that ruining his day? Does it ruin like a whole season for him, the fact that people are cutting through his yard? And so is there other options for him? If it's like, if he's angry for 3 months because people are cutting through his yard, that's his choice. Like he's choosing.
But I like how you put tolerance and boundaries together. That was really good.
And ideally people wouldn't cut through there because we know we're adults and we know.
The water crossed the boundaries.
But there's always going to be that guy that's going to cut through when there's no fence.
Let's get the show on the road. All right, hockey sticks in hands. We will hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye.